Hey, everybody. Welcome. I'm on the wrong side. You all doing today? Welcome to Office Hours. I'm Jeff Blankenburg, as always, and I have Ryan Lowe with me here. And I can't say as always because I actually missed last week.
I was just getting ready to call you out for that, so
Yeah.
you beat me to it.
So I did miss last week. I was at a fantastic event called the Voice Summit, which if any of you have an opportunity to go to, I highly recommend. It was held in Washington, D.C. It was only about 400 people, but it was a good 400 people. Lots of folks there that are deep into the voice industry. I interviewed a bunch of them. You'll see a bunch of videos coming out over the coming months of the people that I interviewed there, but it was awesome. And I really enjoyed it. And the week before that, we were at reInvent. And I know Ryan and I did the office hours from there. But man, I feel like I haven't been out of my home office with all the toys and everything here in quite a while. But the good news is Ryan and I once again achieved wearing the same T-shirt. So
this is true. This is true.
How are you, Ryan?
I'm doing great. I was here last week. Well, Scott was too. Sad Scott's not here today. But we were able to hold down the fort. So I think we did a pretty decent job. No one complained. My manager didn't get any emails, and I didn't see any nasty Twitter messages. So
there were no escalations inside the company related to you. So that's
no one reached out to Jeff and said, "Oh my God, where were you? This was a disaster." So. Right. Yeah.
No, in fact, I got several DMs on Twitter. Like, if you never come back to office hours, that'd be fine. Ryan did a great job.
No, I don't think anyone said that. No one said that. So,
well, welcome to everybody. I see Gavin and Habuma, Trey Last, A Witters, Oxygen Box, Data Driven Skills. Got the whole crew here today. Glad you guys are here. Hopefully you have some questions for us today. And if you don't, that's okay too. I think Ryan hinted at the idea that today will be the last office hours of the year. And while I think that's probably a good plan, because he and I are actually both off on PTO the next 2 weeks, I'd love to know your thoughts, because I don't mind dipping in here for a few questions and answers on a random Tuesday. But I'd love to know from you guys, is it important that we have office hours the next couple of weeks, or would you guys rather just shut it down and we'll see you in the new year? It's coming back. You don't get to choose that, but I'd be very curious to know what you think. Oxygen Box said he spots an Echo Show 15. Treyless says, cool Echo Show 15, Ryan. I got mine yesterday.
But Jeff, you're sporting yours as well. So
I know. It's hanging out right here, up on the shelf. The stand that they sell with it is pretty robust. Did you get one of the stands, Ryan?
No, I just mounted it. I didn't realize how massive this thing is. It's heavy. Yeah. Like it's a beast. It's awesome. It's really well made.
Actually, you know what? I can pull mine down. Let me do that. I'll show the stand for folks that want to see it, because it is not insignificant. So here we go.
Wow. Oh man.
So that's a stand, and it's all metal. Like this back piece, there's a cover on it that is plastic, but in general, it's a pretty substantial stand, and it accommodates being able to mount it horizontally or vertically, which is pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
So let's see if I can get this back up here now. This is a whole exercise in.
Yeah, this thing came with a massive wall mount too, which is good because again, this thing's a hefty thing. But I figured if you did landscape, then I had to do portrait, so we could test out both modes.
Right now, does the mount you have, does it allow you to rotate it?
No, I had to take it off the wall and rotate it that way.
Got it.
So it's a very permanent mount. Very
permanent. Treyless wants to know if the stand came with it or was it extra. The stand that I have was extra. I think it was $30, honestly, for the stand. But it was it's really nice. It's really substantial, and like I said, it will accommodate holding the device at a vertical orientation or a horizontal. And there are screw holes in the back, so it's not just a stand. Like it's actually bolted to the stand. There are two screws that hold everything together.
Oh, nice.
So it's a very substantial stand. Anytime I pay for a stand, I'm like, man, that seems like a lot of money for a stand. But I think in the grand scheme of things, $30 for that stand is probably pretty reasonable.
Yeah, it does come with the wall mount plate. So
yes,
if you buy just the Echo Show 15, you have enough to mount it to the wall, like I did.
Tapster says he has his propped up on a window ledge because he forgot to order the stand. That's always an option. Always an option.
It's
I
always an
have,
option.
you have lots of other stands in your house for phones and tablets and other stuff. So it's always interesting to see if it'll sit on one of those. But this is a big device. I mean, it's pretty heavy.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's see. How are the widgets working? Trade Last wants to know. So far, I'm curious to know, Ryan, what is your favorite widget?
That's a great question. So the smart home one is kind of my favorite because I can kind of just get quick access to a lot of my devices. I'm in the process. So another thing I did over the holiday break was I switched from Google Photos to Amazon Prime Photos, and I'm migrating all of my photos from one to the other. Mostly because Prime lets, or Amazon, it's Amazon Photos, right? I think Amazon Photos lets me save the original resolution of the cloud, which is important to me. So I am moving everything over there. So I'm also working on getting the photos to show up here, but I have to be careful. I don't want to show like a bunch of my kids' photos necessarily and stuff like that. So I need to work through
I specifically chose for this one. I just chose like you can see the Sydney Opera House right here, or at least you can see part of it. So I chose just like the landscapes collection or whatever. But on our one in the kitchen, it's all family photos. And one of my favorite features, if you guys haven't seen this even on any of your other Echo Show devices, there's the option if you use Amazon Photos to do today in the day or whatever. But it basically shows you pictures from this day from previous years. And every time I see a feature like this, one, I love it. But it reminds me of a project that I started probably 15 years ago, or like right when what was it called? What is the engine behind Wikipedia? Why am I forgetting the name of that?
Crap.
Can't think of what the name is. The software that runs Wikipedia. I just can't think of what that's called. Anyway, you could install your own, create your own, and like have your own hosted version of it, whatever. And I created one to like manage all of my personal everything, like my personal information. And I installed it just on a local server in my house, so it wasn't on the web, but it was running. And one of the things that I started doing was keeping like a daily journal. And so, Wikimedia is the foundation, but there's a name for the software that I'm just not thinking of, and it's going to bug me until I think of it. But anyway, so I started writing this daily journal, and so I would make a page that was like July 17th. It's called Media Wiki. That's what I'm thinking of.
Media Wiki.
Anyway, so I started doing that, and I got through an entire year, and then I was like, well, I didn't make the pages year specific. It was just July 19th or April 2nd or whatever. And so then I would just create an entry on the page for each year. And it was kind of cool to be able to look back and be like, oh, what was I doing a year ago? What was I doing? And then I started seeing a lot of these features show up, like Facebook does it now, and Amazon Photos, and there's a bunch of other places. But there's no real relationship between what I was doing on April 9th last year and what I'm doing this year. But it's kind of cool to look back and be like, oh my gosh, that was a year ago today. Like I have that experience a lot now because of like Amazon Photos doing that.
I'm always surprised when it's like, that was 4 years ago. Like, not just like 1 year ago. I'm like, that seemed like that was just 2 years ago, but it was 4 or whatever. Especially pictures of the kids.
I mean, you're a lot younger than I am, and it just gets worse, man. And in fact, I don't think we've talked about that. I'm 45. How old are you?
I will be 40 this year. So you're not that much older than me.
No, you're not too far behind. But I do feel like that continues to accelerate. We were just talking about something. I had so I played volleyball all through high school, college, and once I got out of college, I found a bunch of people that were all former college players, and we played in leagues and stuff together. And it was awesome, just beating on each other. And I was probably I mean, I feel like this was 6 years ago that I went up to block a guy, and I got the block. It was to win the game. It was awesome. But when I came down and landed, my right knee, I heard it. It went pop, pop, and I ripped my ACL. Just gone. And it was bad. And I was like, man, I think.
But you won the game.
We did win the game, but I had to be carried. And so I was thinking back. I was like, man, that had to be like 6 or 7 years ago. No, it turns out it was 10 years ago. It's been 10 years since I did that. And in my head, it's been 5 or 6. There was something else that my wife and I were just talking about doing. And I was like, how old was my oldest daughter when we did that? She's like, Jeff, we didn't have kids when we went and did that. I was like, what? That doesn't seem right. She's 17 now, by the way, if that gives you any indication of how old I feel. Okay, let's talk questions, and then we'll get to Oxygen Box's anger. So Revital Schwartz says, from Israel, my name is Tali. I would like to know more about Alexa for the car and what it can do. Also, I'd like to know, what do you wish to accomplish in the next 2 years? Thanks. Man, that's interesting. So I don't know that I'm going to have a lot of information for you about what I want to accomplish in the next 2 years, as far as I'm speaking for Alexa. Alexa has grand aspirations, right? Models that I like to use are to be the equivalent of a human assistant, or to be able to do everything that the Star Trek computer does. I think we're well on our way to that one. But Ryan, this is a good opportunity, especially with us being right here at the end of the year. What do you want to be doing in the next 2 years?
What do I want to be doing? Like career-wise, personal-wise? I'm assuming you mean
professionally, but personally too. Maybe have a second chicken coop. Who knows?
Well, I did just get a banjo this last week, or like a week ago.
Is this something that you have ever played before?
I've never touched a banjo before. I've played a bass guitar in college. Okay. I played saxophone in high school, but I've never touched a banjo. So this is new for me. Love this. So I'm having fun with that. I decided I needed a new hobby, and I decided I really miss music, and so that's what kind of led to this.
Oh my god! So you played bass guitar in high school, you said?
I played bass guitar in like college, and then a little bit after that.
So what was the name of your band?
I didn't really have one.
Oh man, I was hoping that there was going to be like photos someplace of you with
long hair. No, my roommates, we didn't coordinate this, but I had 2 roommates. One was a drummer and one played saxophone. So we just kind of hung out, but we played once when at a venue when I only learned like one bass lick. And it was hilarious because like we played one song, and then the audience wanted us to play another song, and then all I could do was play my bass lick slower. So my friends were all laughing, but the saxophonist and drummer were fantastic. So I think we had a guitarist at that point. They stole the show, but yeah.
That's amazing.
I was just there to kind of help fill in. So anyway, banjo is on my list. Yeah, what else am I wanting to do in the next 2 years? I think one of the things I really, really, really need to do is get into building more skills with Alexa. I've been doing a lot of stuff lately I'm reworking the cake time tutorial. I'm doing a bunch of stuff there, a bunch of like 100, 200 level stuff, but I really, really, really want to dig in. In fact, over break, I plan on working on my pool controller, my voice powered pool controller. But I really would love to get a skill like submitted and published and go through the whole process and actually, live the life a little bit more than what I've been doing lately. So I'm done onboarding. It's been 6 months that I've been on the team pretty much.
Congratulations.
And I need to actually start getting my hands super dirty. And that also includes live streaming this. So I have lots of ideas. I just have lots of excuses as I let my calendar fill up on its own. And then I don't make time for it. So
I know exactly how that feels. You and I both will be revisiting live streaming in the new year, I think, which I'm really looking forward to. I have so much desire to get my hands dirty and build some stuff again. And it feels like it's been too long. So yeah, I'm very excited for that. If I'm going to answer that question, what do I want to be? What do I want to do in 2 years? Man, that's a good one. I mean, personally, I want to say 2 years from now that I have seen you play the opening theme song to Office Hours on the banjo. That's something that I want to accomplish.
Okay.
Within the next 2 years, I think that'd be cool. No, in all seriousness, though, I think I have had a thousand ideas. I've built dozens of skills. But I've never taken one to a level where I've seen any kind of success with it. So I generally build it and I'll launch it, but I don't often maintain them. It's more about the journey to get there, less about like the success of the skill itself. And I think that that's actually a really big part of all of this, is that understanding what works, what doesn't work, and working with your audience. So just for all of you, I'm going to be revisiting the casino. We're getting back to the casino. I'm going to get less distracted by chat bots and all the other things that go along with what I've done with the casino in the past. But I'm going to focus in specifically on just the Alexa skill casino, and we're gonna get it out. We're gonna make it a real thing that is published and ready for the audience, and we're gonna listen to feedback and do A/B testing and all sorts of other stuff. So yeah, that's big on my list. But I think getting back to streaming is a big part of who I want to be, and so I'm looking forward to doing much more of that. And you're getting all I gotta find a new position for my my 15. Everybody is complimenting yours, and it looks awesome on your wall. But I feel like mine is hidden, it's cut off. So maybe I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it where this Funko sign is, and maybe I'll put it there, or maybe just like right over my head here. I felt like if I put it down on the shelves below with the rest of them, that would just kind of blend in.
Yeah,
it's still blending in, so I got to figure out how to bring that.
I think on the shelf is right. Yeah, but
okay.
But
so go ahead.
Tolly also asked about like Amazon or Alexa in the car,
Yes.
and I was going to share a YouTube link. We did a tech talk in October on Alexa on the go. So if you don't know, we have this whole series of Alexa tech talks where once a month we will host a webinar, and then we live stream it and get the video, and the videos end up on YouTube archived. But a couple months ago, we did one on Alexa on the go. And so I pasted the link in there. It has a bunch of different scenarios about how to use Alexa in the car. And I think that will answer a lot better than I could articulate, because from, I think, the PM who is behind it. So awesome. Really interesting video to watch. It's only about 20 minutes long.
That's super useful. The biggest differentiator for me with the Echo Auto device specifically is that it can do turn-by-turn directions and location services, like live location services. Most of the devices do not have any of those capabilities built in. When you ask for directions or whatever, it's going to use the address that you used when you set it up, and you'd have to go modify that address if you wanted to go from somewhere else. So like I travel with an Echo Dot quite frequently, and every time I get to a new city, I have to like tell it what time zone I'm in and what the address is, whatever. But the Echo Auto, as well as the Echo Buds, are location-based, right? They work through your phone. And so as a result of that, they can make a lot of those decisions on the fly.
Yeah, they talk about a lot of different. They talk about a lot of different scenarios, like saying, like ordering groceries and then going to the store and telling Alexa, like, I'm in the parking lot. Let them know that come deliver the groceries. So there's going to be a lot of skill type stuff like that I think coming soon, which will be interesting. Yes. Things that really make sense for when you are like on the go.
Agreed. So that I think that's a good question about the car. Speaking of that, I also had an opportunity to talk with the creators of a device called the Talk Socket. Have we talked about this, Ryan?
Yes, we have. Not on office hours, I don't think, but we have talked about it.
So this is not a commercial. This is just a device that I think is cool. But these guys make a device called the Talk Socket, and that's TALK socket. And they basically made, I don't have one here, but if you have like a pop socket device on the back of your phone, you can pull that off and you put this device on instead. And it is a wireless charging Alexa device that's attached to your phone, but it is also the pop socket that you would like use to support your phone when you're holding it. I am so thoroughly impressed. I mean, hardware aside, like they're making a great device and it's cool. It works with your phone. But I think that the thing that is amazing to me is now they've unlocked the ability for you to have Alexa literally everywhere. Because like we have the one in the kitchen, in the family room, bedroom, bathroom, whatever. We have the one in the car. We have the one that's in our earbuds or even the Echo frames. But there's something interesting about the idea that it's just on because you're never not taking your phone with you. And so I don't know. There's something really compelling about that use case to me. And they're doing a bunch of other really interesting things with it. I mean, it's got an LED ring on it like the Echo Dots and stuff do. And so they can use that to indicate specific information. The device actually started as more like a Tile or an Apple AirTag, where it was just meant to be a tracking device for your phone. But it slowly evolved into like, hey, we should ask Alexa if we can find the thing. And they're like, why don't we just build Alexa into the thing? And that's kind of how it went from there. And so it's a really clever concept, because it potentially eliminates the need for you to have one for your car and one for earbuds or whatever. Like if you can just carry it around. Now the earbuds and the frames make a lot of sense for a bunch of other use cases. But the idea that I have, without having to unlock and open an app on my phone, I can just talk to my phone. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm looking to get one, but I'm forcing myself. So my use case for it will be poolside.
Oh yeah.
So I've tried to figure out what's a great device that I can have outside like all the time. And there's just really not a good weather resistant. Like here we get just tons of dust and everything else. And I don't want to like keep plugging in something. And so, but I always have my phone with me because I have my phone everywhere. So I figured that poolside would be a great accessory, but I'm forcing myself to finish my pool controller in order to reward myself with the talk socket. So
I think that makes sense. Have you seen,
I have to make these little gains in order for me to like get stuff done. So
yeah. Have you seen the Echo Input?
I have.
Well, I will tell you, like I have tons of pollen and rain and all sorts of stuff outside.
Yeah.
This is the solution I came up with for this. So I have a set of regular outdoor speakers that are weatherproof, that are mounted up on the side of my deck.
Yeah.
And those are wired in to a Bluetooth receiver that lives inside my house.
Yes.
So I can connect to that Bluetooth receiver anytime from my phone if I just want to play music. But when the Echo Input came out, I introduced that as part of the interaction. And so what I do is I just take this thing, it just plugs in with a micro USB cable. I take it outside when I need it, but realistically, I could put it in a protective case. You can talk to it. You can ask Alexa to do anything Alexa would do, but it is Bluetooth paired to that same Bluetooth receiver. And so all of the audio for the Echo Input goes out through those big speakers. That has solved my outdoor problem, because I can always pair my phone, but it's nice when you're sitting outside to be like, play my playlist, and it just does it. And you don't have to like pull out your phone and pair and do stuff. It's kind of nice.
I can't find an Echo Input anymore. So
have you looked on eBay?
Yeah. No, I haven't.
I feel like there's an aftermarket for this stuff, but let me see. Echo Input. Oh yeah, dude. $20. Probably less.
All right. I'll take a look.
Tons of them. There's a lot of people asking way too much for them, but there's plenty for cheap. That would be my recommendation for looking for your outside solution. I think that the Bluetooth receiver is the real challenge. That's the piece that.
Yeah. So I have a Sonos, an older Sonos that I connected to Alexa. So I can definitely tell Alexa to turn on the speakers outside because it's all connected, but it's the input outside. And I've taken an Echo outside with me and done that, but then it's just not as slick. So
yeah. Let's see. I missed a couple of conversations here. S. Raysang said, Sraysang, is there an Alexa public roadmap? For example, what features are being worked on and what are planned? So Sraysang on Twitch, no, that does not exist. We generally do not talk about the future or share our future plans at all. There's obviously a competitive nature to that, but it's mostly around we don't want to make promises that we don't fulfill. You would be amazed being able to see behind the curtain how often things get moved and deprioritized and moved around and shifted. And so if I was to say that a feature is coming in June, well, then you start to plan for that. And if it gets shifted and moved to November, that could ruin your entire business plan. So we really don't talk about features until they're mostly ready. We will do like private betas and stuff like that to get it into hands as early as we can. But that's about as close as you're going to get. So my recommendation generally, pay attention to Alexa Live. Ingest. I mean, we announced 52 things at Alexa Live, but most of them are being released in a GA fashion, like general availability, over the next year. And so you should have a good idea generally of what we're working on but there's no promises that one specific item will be delivered at any specific time, if that makes sense. W. Giorgio says he wanted to get an Echo Loop, but they don't make them anymore. Agreed. I had a demo one for reInvent 2019, and they made me send it back, and then was unable to get another one.
Sad.
Would have liked to have one. Is the socket Alexa device always listening even when your phone is locked? Wondering what the difference between this and just the Alexa app. Yes, the Alexa device that is the talk socket device is always available like an Echo Dot or anything else would be. So it's not always listening, but it has a wake word engine and all this stuff. Habuma says he has a Loop, but he doesn't wear it all the time. It comes with a lot of geek cred when he's speaking at a conference on Alexa skills, so he wears it for sure.
I'm sure.
Buying Media on YouTube says I have an Echo first gen outdoors for 4 years and it's still going great. I think climate to climate that could change. I know with the dust and stuff you guys get, that might be difficult. The other option, which is really handy, you could probably find these on eBay too. Take this case off. I don't know if you've seen one of these, Ryan. These are old.
I have all the cool stuff, man. There's so much cool stuff.
This is still my favorite device. And the reason for that is it's battery powered. It easily charges. It has just a little base that it sits on. I'll explain the letters in a second. It has controls on the top. It's pretty weatherproof. Like I've driven around with it in the rain. I wouldn't expect it to be submerged in a pool or something.
Right.
But when I take this golfing, it fits in a cup holder, and it lasts more than 6 hours of playing music the entire time. It's amazing. So I'm a really big fan of this. If you can find one of these on eBay, I can't recommend enough picking one up. If you want to try one of these, Ryan, I may have an extra that I could send you.
I could probably find one.
Well, no, like I mean, I have them as part of work, so like I could just send you.
I see.
But this OSJ, they all have letters on the bottom. We used to do a lot of traveling roadshow hackathons kind of things, and this was before the simulator was really good. This is before we had a lot of good testing tools and things, and so we would show up with 20 Echo these Amazon taps in a suitcase, and we would just hand them out, like loan them out to people. You give me your driver's license, I'll give you a device. And then you had something to test on during the hackathons. And so I don't have 20 of them, but I definitely have a few extra. And so if you want one of these to experiment with at your house, you're more than welcome, because we're not really using them anymore. Anyway, Amazon Tap is I'm a big fan of as well.
Nice.
Okay, let's see. Okay. So it finally hit. This was something I was going to talk about a little later in the office hours, but A. Witters brought it to attention. Have you read the blog post on the new Skill Developer Accelerator Program, SDAP?
No. I have missed
you have not read this yet. Okay. You want to go to that link, and let's talk about it a little bit, because I think it's a really interesting. No, that's not what I wanted to do. I was trying to copy the link, which this makes impossible.
It really does.
Anyway. The core idea, there's a bunch of points that have been made in there, and I saw a couple of people have pointed them out already. The big one is for in-skill purchasing. Traditionally, all app stores had a revenue share, right, where you and Amazon split the revenue. All app stores up until recently were 70-30 split. So you kept 70%, and the app store, whoever that is, kept 30%. Well, we just announced for anybody that is making less than $1 million in revenue, which is most people, I think, your revenue share will be 80-20. You're getting an extra 10% of your revenue automatically starting as soon as this program starts. So I think it says starting in Q2 2022. So yeah, that is that new program also has a bunch of other nice features rolled into it. There's some AWS credits. There's a bunch of other stuff as a part of that, but the revenue share is a big piece of that. And I'm still trying to bring the blog post up. I'm just not succeeding. Let's see if I can do this real quick.
I found it. Let me paste in the link.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Like a clickable version. Any place is fine. Okay, so I'll kind of go through this and highlight the big things. Let's see. The 80-20 split is a good one. Yeah, they will also, they said there will be an additional 10% of developers' potential revenue given as other benefits. And so we'll have to wait to see exactly what those are going to be. It also talks about paid skills and Alexa hosted skills and ISPs in India and Canada. I've seen many, many versions of this blog post, so I want to make sure I'm only talking about the things that are true. Yeah, so I think that's the biggest thing, though, is that we're basically giving developers 10% more of their money. And if you add those 10% of developers' benefits that they're kind of vague on, that takes you to potentially 90% of everything that you're charging. So if you charge $2 for an item, you should expect with these benefits and stuff to make about $1.80 on that $2 purchase, which is pretty good. That's pretty solid.
Yeah.
And of course, you've got to pay taxes on the revenue and all that stuff too. So it's not free and clear, but. Let's see. Yeah, I think that gets to all the questions. Gold Zulu said, "Did I hear incentives?" And then we get down to, well, let's talk a little bit because we kind of skipped over it. W. Giorgio said earlier, I think it was W. Giorgio, maybe it was Oxygen Box. To figure out how to cap my AWS charges, maybe I'll be able to afford one if he can figure out how to cap his AWS charges. There's no magic switch, unfortunately, for capping your AWS charges, but obviously using as much of the Alexa hosted stuff as you can solve some problems, although I know there's not an easy transition plan if you already are on like just standard AWS services. But I know that we are, I have escalated this for a few folks. I think Oxygen Box, you are one of them, about trying to help accommodate folks that are in a pinch because you have a popular skill that's costing you money, and we would prefer that not to happen. So hopefully we will get some of this stuff resolved for all of you. Brad the Roman on Twitch said, I've been struggling for days to get my skill certified. It keeps failing the example phrase matching. Is there somewhere I can go for help with this? I posted on Slack, but gotten little response. So Brad, I apologize. I've been traveling for the last 2 weeks and been in meetings and talks and all sorts of stuff. So I have not been as active in Slack as I would have liked to be. But my number one piece of advice for you on this, and this is 99% of the reason people fail this specific one, is that you have a phrase. Let's pretend you have a weather skill just to make it simple. And you have a sample utterance because you get 3 of them when you publish your skill. Mm-hmm. And one of them is, what is the weather in Phoenix? And that's your sample utterance that you offer to people when they go to the store and they see your app in the store, your skill in the store. So if you don't have an utterance in your skill that is exactly what is the weather in Phoenix, or at a minimum, what is the weather in city slot name, it's going to fail. Because this isn't even something that's subjective. This happens automatically. They have created tests that will automate this process. They will take your 3 utterances. They will match it against all of your utterances, your 3 sample phrases. They will match that against your utterances. And if there isn't a perfect match, it fails. So you have 2 intents. Each passes if I submit individually. If I submit both, they fail. The only other reason that I think this might be an issue is if they have conflicts. Like if the 2 utterances overlap each other a lot, the 2 intents, sorry. I have 2 intents. Each passes if I submit individually, but if I submit both, they fail. This is a compelling question. Are you Brad the Roman in Slack also? Because I feel like I want to see your code, and the easiest way to do that would be to have you share some stuff with me on Slack. I'm opening Slack.
This is interesting.
He's Brad the Roman on Slack. I'm going to go search for Brad the Roman. Maybe. You actually Roman? Are you from Italy? Cool. Brad the Roman in Slack. I do not see anyone with the name Brad the Roman. I apologize. We're talking about the Alexa community Slack, the one that you can find
There we go.
There you are. I'm going to say hello. And don't post it in the general, but if you just want to send me a message, I'll try to see if I can't find. See. Brad, you've got a great profile pic. Let's see if I can find. I'm not finding any messages, but yeah, if you just want to send me a message, I'd be happy to chat with you about whatever. We can try to figure that stuff out together.
Yeah, I missed that on Slack as well.
Yeah, I'm not finding it when I search his name. I'm not finding any messages specifically from him. So we'll get into it. On Slack, there's an analytics product, voicelab.com, but it requires granting access to your Alexa developer account and giving access to your skills. Is this safe to do? Voicelab.com. It's reputable. Let's see. Yes, I have worked with VoiceLab. I would feel like you would be safe in doing that. The analytics tool that I have used in the past is VoiceBot. Voicebot.ai. Is that right? No, VoiceBot is the news website. What am I thinking? Dashbot.ai. Nope, it's not that. Is it
all these web 2.0 names and
Dashbot.com. Dashbot.io. That's what it is. So I have used a similar product from Dashbot that does a great job of measuring this stuff too. But I have used VoiceLab. I don't want to put my reputation on the line, but my experience with them has been positive. So I think you're probably fine. Oh, that was a disaster. Sorry. Okay, so voicelab.com is certainly something you can use. I know there are a couple of other analytics products. And then your other option, honestly, is the analytics that are built into the developer console are moderately sufficient for most things that you need. And if there's something beyond that, specifically, I recommend building your own collection engine. Like, just throw the data that you really care about in the database so that you can monitor and pay attention to it yourself. It can be a lot of data potentially, especially if you're doing it on every interaction, but it's useful. I've done that in a few of my skills where I just save the entire request object, just so that I can go back later and see when something failed what it was.
Yeah. There is, man, I was playing with this a little while ago. There's an amazing time stream. What was it? Amazon time stream, like a database where this is actually what I use on my chicken coop. Is I log all my sensor data into Amazon time stream, and then I'm able to graph it really, really, really nicely. You can just log JSON objects in there and then be able to query it easily. There's also DynamoDB. Like there's a number of different ways to log all this. Even CloudWatch is great. If you log, I found that if you log just JSON objects with no text around it, just JSON objects in CloudWatch, you can query that really, really, really easily as well, and be able to pull in a bunch of different data. I always screwed up CloudWatch. I would like put a string and then like the JSON object or something like that, and then it isn't able to parse it. So just raw JSON is the way to go. You can build graphs, you can build alerts off of that. Like it's pretty. CloudWatch does way more than I used to credit for.
All right. Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about just storing the raw JSON object. I tend to like compile a string and then just write one log statement, because I also like to know like what was I doing when I wrote this thing. And so I have what I probably should have is just a couple of multiple log statements so that I'm writing JSON raw, but surrounding it in statements that are like you were spinning the roulette wheel or whatever, so that you have a good feel for what you should have expected.
Yeah. And even what I started doing is even my raw string, I would just put it into a JSON format. So it'd just be like curly bracket message and then my raw string.
Yeah.
Just so then I could query that. So that
that's cool.
Everything's JSON. You could parse it really, really nicely. You can do JSON queries.
Note this down, Ryan. That needs to be a blog post. That would be awesome.
Oh. All right. I'm digging it.
We should write about that. Again, it's just one of those little tricks that makes everything easier. I love being able to document and share those.
Learn from our mistakes. That's in the community, right? Like, I think that's one of the great things. We can all share stuff like that.
Agreed. Teza Works. I don't know if this happened last week, Ryan, so I'll defer to you on this one. But he said, you guys said you'd send me an email about why my skill failed review, but I haven't received it yet. Can you update me on this? Teza, I feel like I don't know who you got. Did we personally, like here on office hours, say that we would send you an email? Because if that's the case, then we failed and we need to readdress that. But if you're just talking about not getting a failed review email from the certification team, we can look into that, but we are not directly related to that team. So we'll have to reach out to them and see what could have gone down. Does this look familiar to you at all, Ryan?
I'm not used to that username. Teza Works.
So Teza, I would love to help you. I need more information. And what I'll need is something beyond your email address. So while I appreciate you sharing that, what I will need to do is get a couple of other pieces of information for you. So there's a couple of ways we can do this. I am Jeff Blankenburg on Twitch. Oh, it was the certification team. Okay, perfect. So what I would recommend is if you haven't opened to contact us, we're good. Don't worry about those headphones. So if you haven't already, and I'm assuming you have not, I would recommend going to this page and filling out that little form and expressing your exact concern. Hey, my skill failed. I didn't get any feedback. I don't understand why it failed. They will be able to help you 24/7. They open a ticket. It gets followed up on. It can be escalated. There's all sorts of good things that come out of filling out this form. And if you feel like you're not getting the kind of response that you need, let's say it's been 3 or 4 days and you're like, God, I've gotten nothing back. That's when you hit me up and say, hey, Jeff, here's the ticket number I have. Can you escalate this for me? And now I have something actionable that I can take to our team and say, hey, this specific ticket needs to be looked at because they're not getting the response time that they're looking for. So Teza, that is the process I would recommend to everyone. I am more than happy to help, but they're going to look at me strange if we haven't already filled out a contact us request because then I'm escalating a thing that they're not aware of. But in the next couple of days, they should get back to you. And if they don't, then I'm more than happy to kind of escalate this for you and we'll get it figured out. An AWS service question from Gold Zulu, Ryan. These are ones I like to punt to you. Gold Zulu one is AWS QuickSight free?
So I was just looking this up because there used to be a pretty good free tier associated with it, but now it appears they have 2 different editions, standard and enterprise, and I'm not seeing, I see free trial, but I'm not seeing like free tier. QuickSight is a really interesting service. It's super powerful, but it's also not the easiest to set up. But that was a year ago when I was last really digging into it. I've been more looking at Grafana, and I know AWS is coming with if it's not here yet, there's a managed Grafana service coming from AWS, which Grafana is a great open source graphing and reporting dashboard. That's actually what I use for my chicken coop because you can connect it directly to all the different Amazon services. And I actually was using the public Grafana, which has a free tier, which I was able to get dashboards very easily. And so I know AWS is coming with one as well, but QuickSight was free at one point. I know you can play around with it for free, but I think it looks like from just the pricing pages that it may be a monthly subscription now.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, we have 15 minutes left. Happy to take a few more questions.
I want to know if Grafana ever launched. Yeah, there it is. AWS Amazon Managed Grafana. This is the AWS service name. But I don't know if this is free. Let's see. Offers a free 90-day trial. Yeah, because this would basically run on a server, so it's not serverless. So I'm assuming it would It does cost money. But Grafana itself has always looking for like, especially for reporting, like you can get by with like a little bit of data. And so there's usually ways. So Grafana Labs, grafana.com, actually I was posted in here, is what I've had luck with in the past. I'm posting a link to that.
Cool.
And maybe I'll do it for free.
Free is always good. Laldi Labs just said he has a ticket number actually that he needs some help with. Honestly, Laldi, it doesn't really matter. Wherever you're comfortable reaching out to me, I am at Jeff Blankenburg literally everywhere. So you're welcome to reach out to me wherever you're comfortable. But if you're already in the Slack is a really convenient way because then we can continue to have a conversation. It's not just a one-off email or Twitter DM or whatever. So again, wherever you want to reach out to me, if you find me someplace, I'll see it. But if you want to get to me the most directly and we continue a conversation, it's probably Slack. That's probably the best place. Oh, so we need to talk about what I had for lunch today. Have you? You haven't even had lunch yet, right?
No, it's only 10:45 here.
Yeah, so I had my lunch at about 10:45 because we do this right at my noon. But I had. Have we talked about Skyline Chili before? I think we have.
Oh yes, you went to Skyline today.
I had the frozen, like grocery store style Skyline Chili out of the microwave today, and it was pretty good.
Nice. Pretty good. Is that kind of like the frozen White Castles you can get in the freezer?
Yes,
section?
Except not terrible. Anything that is microwavable,
I miss
bread is going to be bad. Like microwave.
I know,
bread,
but I miss White Castle. I miss it.
Well, I will keep that in mind. Anytime I have a direct flight to you, I'll pick up a Crave case and I'll bring them your
Crave
way.
Case, yeah. Just bring as your luggage.
Perfect. Could you imagine just like sitting next to people on an airplane with one of those under your seat or something? It would smell so bad.
It smelled delicious. Steamed onions. Just
oh yeah.
Yeah. Plane.
Goldzula wants to know if I'm still on my strict diet. Yes, I am. It's working. The last 2 weeks of travel are not ideal. But yes, I am still doing the diet, and we're going to continue doing the diet until I stop looking like this. So we'll get there. Booman says he's tried Skyline. He's not sure that he understands the excitement. I am not by any means a like Skyline enthusiast, but it is a thing that I can eat that is protein only. I eat it with these Parmesan crackers. They're like the crackers are just made out of Parmesan cheese, which is also on my diet. And the Parmesan crackers on their own, not very good, but in the chili, fantastic. It's something crunchy, and that's all I'm really going for. So yeah, it's working pretty well. I'm not a regular Skyline eater. We have restaurants here around town. I don't frequent them. I've been, but not often. But it used to be, especially when my kids were younger, it was a nice place to go and like we could sit down, eat pretty fast. They had hot dogs and stuff that the kids would eat, so that's always good.
Yeah, it's good priced.
Yeah, that's for sure. You go in there and order 16 things, and it's like $12. It's good.
Like how Taco Bell used to be.
Right. Taco Bell's gotten expensive.
It has.
Yeah, and I don't know for what reason. It's not as if the food quality has improved.
And of course, my kids love the Doritos Locos tacos, which are like $3 now a taco. I'm like, this is outrageous. This is outrageous.
Yeah, I'm with you. In fact, while I was in Vegas, I always stay at the Cosmopolitan, and right across the street is Planet Hollywood, and they have a whole bunch of like shops and restaurants on their first floor. And one of them is this Taco Bell cantina, where they actually sell like alcoholic beverages and a bunch of other like stuff. It's kind of like a kitchen for them. It's done in a totally different way. Even the way the food is served is different. They don't wrap it up in the paper. They actually serve it on like taco organizers and like these
trays. Yeah.
So I went over there for a quick lunch on my way to something, and I just couldn't believe how expensive the stuff was. It was the same price that is everywhere. I just was looking at the prices like, this is nonsense. But my favorite thing there is have you had the cheesy gordita crunch? If we're really getting into nonsense at Taco Bell. So the gordita is like a fluffy flatbread kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then they put cheese inside that, and then they put a crunchy taco shell inside that. And
Oh,
then
okay.
it's just a normal taco, but then they have this like spicy ranch that they put on the taco also. And they had
Nice.
a Doritos version of that with the Dorito shell instead of. It was good. It was really good.
My go-to is the Crunchwrap Supreme, but I asked them to take the cheese sauce. You know that.
Yeah, the nacho cheese I don't like.
No, I'm not a huge fan of it. So I asked them to take that off, and then it also cuts out like half the calories by doing that. So
yeah, also
that's my go-to.
Yeah,
I leave the sour cream in there because you need a little bit of moisture. The tomatoes aren't enough to.
No, they're not. Yeah, the nacho cheese has never been a thing for me at Taco Bell. I always go to the shredded cheese or, like you said, sour cream, or I'll just have them like put a little extra spicy ranch on there just to moisten it up a little bit. But yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
And that's our 5-minute dialogue on Taco Bell.
Yes.
Glad you all enjoyed that. I notice all the questions have ended. Oxygen Box says, no Taco Bell for me. I have a policy not to eat anything that comes from a caulk gun. That is a valid life choice. But I'm assuming then you also don't eat at McDonald's because that's how they dispense their ketchup and mustard. It's all one gun, in fact, with 2 nozzles. It's there's a lot of places that do the caulk gun kind of thing because it's fast. He's also on McDonald's, so
my kids are super picky, but they like Taco Bell. Well, they like the Doritos Locos Tacos with beans instead of beef.
Interesting.
And my wife hates Taco Bell, as most wives are smart to do. And so this is like our thing when it's just me and the boys. We'll go to Taco Bell. Like they get super excited, like let's go to Taco Bell, and they think like this is this amazing treat with dad. And so
right. What are the other restaurants on your list? We'll just get into this. What are the other restaurants on your list that you can only go to without your wife?
Oh boy, White Castle's on that list. So, but I haven't. So we do have one White Castle in town. It's about a half-hour drive away from me though. So, where else? There's not a whole lot
about Taco Bell, but Arby's is also on our list. Arby's is a no-go for her.
Yeah, I don't really care much about Arby's either. They used to have the best fries, and now I think their fries have turned for me. So,
they have 3 kinds of fries.
I know they're not as good. They're not as good anymore. I don't know. They changed the recipe. Yeah, we do Wendy's a lot, but my wife will pretty much eat most things, just not Taco Bell.
Got it. Yeah, Wendy's is based here in Columbus, so there's a lot of Wendy's in our lives.
Yeah.
Have I talked to you about like the taste testing and stuff I've done with them?
Yes.
They have like an innovation kitchen, and I go there like, it seems like once a quarter, and they pay you like $50, and you go eat something, and then you give them your opinion on it. All right, I'll do that. I like $50.
You like eating?
Yeah. All right, we only have a couple minutes left. Brian Tarbox said that the Alexa motion tag is working again, though during the 3 weeks it was broken, I lost a ton of traffic. Who can I contact to beg for a little promotion to help me regain my traffic? Ryan, that is a very valid question. Could you send me a Slack message or an email kind of outlining where you were, what you were doing, and certainly the issue? I would love to share that as an anecdote with my team, and I'll see what I can do. I'm not in a position to make any promises, but I will actively advocate on your behalf. So we'll see what we can do. But like tell the story, tell like with emotion. Give me the whole thing. Your words are far more valuable than my words.
You know, at the beginning of the stream here, Gavin Watson asked me how my Starlink was doing, and I kind of skipped over him. I'm actually wondering. So I now have Starlink. All last week I explained my whole internet situation, Jeff, and now I'm on Starlink, which is the SpaceX Elon Musk.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know that, man. Is it good?
I ordered it or pre-ordered it, whatever, back in February, and they just delivered it in the last couple of weeks. So I've been testing it out. So you guys tell me how's the streams, how it's going. I've noticed a couple jumps here and there. It's new to the area, so they don't, they're getting more and more satellites in the area and blah 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 blah. But this sure beats my old internet, which was bouncing off of a mountain with a dish.
Yeah. So I will tell you that overall it's been great. I have noticed a couple of hiccups, but they've just been quick pauses, or like you just get a quick blur on your camera and then it comes back to full resolution again. But nothing that I would say suggests you have bad internet. It's just that's how the traffic moves sometimes.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Hopefully it just gets better. So
yeah. All right. Last question came from Gold Zulu. I know the standard answer to this, and you're totally right. I just thought I'd ask in case there's something I missed. Will there be an AR version of Alexa soon via an official Amazon Glasses device or via third-party Facebook world?
Oh, wouldn't that be awesome? Oh.
So that would be super awesome. I have absolutely nothing to share, like positively or negatively. I have no information on this at all. This is not even like me lying, and sometimes I have to do that. Like I don't know about that in the future. I really don't know anything about this at all. I mean, we are in the business of glasses. We do make glasses that have Alexa built into them. You've seen things like Google Glass and other devices that can fit that form factor in. So I think it's a reasonable thought that someone might be thinking about it, but I have no information about if and when and how a product like that might actually make it to market. So I don't have a better answer for you than that. But I will tell you that there is one specific thing. So I am big into Oculus. We have a couple of Oculi here in the house, and we play games all the time. And one of the things that I find happens all the time is you have your phone in your pocket, you have your smartwatch on, and you're playing games, and you get a notification on your phone. And the first thing I want to do is this, to see what's happening on my wrist. But I do it all the time, even though I can't actually see my wrist because I have the Oculus on. So I wish there was a way. I mean, it can already track my hands and my arm motion. I really wish it could let me see my watch, even if it's a simulated version of my watch. God, that would be so cool. Like to be able to, like I'm in the middle of a game, I'm shooting bad guys, doing all the stuff, and I'm like, oh, I have an email from Ryan. Like that would be really useful information to be able to see that. Now, you could go the boring way, which is just like notifications on the device. I don't really think that's very cool, but being able to like just look at my watch the way I normally would be. That's
first off, I sure hope your watch doesn't alert you every time you get an email, because we get like millions of emails.
Only from you. I set special flags just for you.
Perfect. But I'm a much bigger fan of AR than VR. Just VR, like VR makes me nauseous. Like I get nauseous like super easily. So, but AR I'm completely bought into. I was super excited when Google Glass came out, and then it kind of faded away and I got sad. HoloLens came out, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And then, they're still doing some stuff with it, but I am waiting for this technology to be out there.
Yeah. I've had
maybe if nothing else, just to tell me people's names, like as a little label, like in front of people, because I recognize people, but I'm terrible with names.
Right.
So,
right. Or even if you just had the glasses and it just puts a little icon over their head, and like tells you like, here's things you've talked about recently in the past. Like, oh my God, that'd be amazing. Yeah, I'm with you. I like AR too. I spent some time with a HoloLens right at the end of my Microsoft tenure, and it was unbelievable. I played one shooting game. I don't remember the name of it now, but like you would set it up in your like family room or whatever, and all of a sudden out of the walls of the room, like these creatures would just like break through the drywall and like come attack you and whatever, and you had to shoot them and do whatever. But you could actually like once they punched the holes in the wall, you could walk up to the wall and like look inside and see fake wiring and studs and just the attention to detail.
Cool stuff. Yeah.
Anyway, I like the AR stuff. I think that's the future, but I think that there's still a place for VR, and it's pretty remarkable what is possible in VR. But I think for everyday use, AR is certainly the solution. All right, Brad had one more question, and then we will wrap, which was, if I clone my interaction model to different languages, do I need to rebuild each one individually? And the answer to that question is yes. If you make a change to any interaction model, you will have to rebuild. Yes. That is the truth. And like that, I got a notification. It's time to breathe, Ryan. I have to breathe. Do you ever do that? Do you ever do the...
I turned off the breathing. That's kind of getting... I don't breathe.
I've been ignoring it for a solid year. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is the last office hours for 2021. We will be back ready to go. I will be live from CES for our next office hours. The first week. So thank you guys all for tuning in. It's always a pleasure to chat with all of you. And we will see you again soon. Have a great holiday season.
Thanks, everybody.